2 phone calls, 2 players on holiday in Argentina, and 4 words that change everything. We want you gone. G'day Swans fans. If you love the club like I do, hit that subscribe button, because what you're about to hear is the brutal reality behind the Curnow trade, and it's not pretty. Will Hayward and Florent have broken their silence? And what they've revealed is damning. They basically said, "We want you out. We want you gone." That's Florent describing the phone call he received from Leon Cameron while on holiday in Argentina. Hayward got a similar call from Dean Cox. 2 conversations. Same message. Your time at Sydney is over. These weren't mutual discussions. These weren't amicable separations. These were players being told, in no uncertain terms, that the club didn't want them anymore. And here's what makes it worse. Both Hayward and Florent had signed 5-year contract extensions just last year. Deals running until 2029. They committed their futures to Sydney. They didn't want to leave. But Sydney wanted the Charlie Curnow deal. And these 2 blokes were the price. Hayward put it diplomatically. It probably could have been handled a bit better. But then he added something that cuts even deeper. Those phone calls made my decision to join Carlton very easy. That's not the sound of a player who wanted to leave. That's the sound of a player who was pushed. But to understand how he got here, we need to go back. Let's set the scene properly. Will Hayward and Florent weren't fringe players. They weren't Deadwood being cleared out. These are blokes who've played their entire careers at Sydney. 184 games each. Both drafted together in the first round of the 2016 National Draft. They came up through the system together. They became mates. They built their lives in Sydney. Last year, both were offered 5-year extensions. Think about that. 5 years. That's not a token gesture. That's the club saying, "You're part of our future. We want you here long term." Hayward had options too. Carlton came knocking last year when he was eligible for free agency. He could have walked then, but he chose to stay. He chose Sydney. He signed that 5-year deal believing in what the club was building. Florent was versatile. Could play multiple positions. The kind of player every club needs. Sure, he got dropped to the VFL during parts of this season, but he was still contracted, still valued. Also he thought. Then came the Charlie Curnow opportunity. Carlton made it clear, Curnow's available, but it's going to cost you 3 first-round picks. And we want players too. Sydney's list management team looked at their list and made a calculation. Cold, strategic, ruthless. Hayward and Florent were on long-term deals. Good players, but not irreplaceable. And Carlton wanted them, so they became part of the package. But here's what nobody expected, the way it was handled. The trade period started. Hayward and Florent were on holiday in Argentina. Just 2 mates, enjoying the off-season, thinking about the 2026 season ahead in red and white. Then the phone calls came. Picture this moment. You're in Argentina. You're relaxed. You're thinking about your future at a club you've given everything to. Your phone rings. For Florent, it was Leon Cameron, the head of football, a bloke who's been at the club, who knows what these players mean to the culture. The conversation wasn't long. It wasn't ambiguous. We want you out. We want you gone. Not we've had an approach. Not would you consider. Not let's discuss your options. We want you gone. What would you have felt in that moment? The betrayal. The confusion. You signed a 5-year deal. You committed. And now they are telling you you're not wanted. Hayward got his call from Dean Cox. 2 phone calls total during the entire trade period. Those phone calls made my decision to join Carlton very easy. That's not excitement. That's resignation. That's a bloke who's just been told by his club that is surplus to requirements. Could this have been handled differently? Of course it could have. You sit down with the players. You explain the situation. You give them time to process. You show some respect for what they've contributed. But that's not what happened. Instead, 2 contracted players found out they were being moved on via phone calls while they were on holiday. And here's the part that changes everything. Hayward admitted it himself. It probably could have been handled a bit better. That's diplomatic language for, this was a mess. He went on, that club is full of fantastic people. It was probably just a little slip-up in how it was all handled. A little slip-up. That's generous. Because this isn't about moving players on. Every club does that. This is about how you treat people who've given you nearly 200 games each. The AFL media picked up on this immediately. Headlines about brutal phone calls. Questions about how Sydney handled the trade. Swans supporters are divided. Some are defending the club. It's a business. You do what you need to do to get Charlie Curnow. Others are uncomfortable. That's not how we treat our people. That's not the Swans way. But listen to Hayward and Florent's words carefully. They are being diplomatic. They are being professional. They are not burning bridges. I don't want to say bad things about the Swans, Florent said. Had some wonderful times there. Hayward echoed that. That club is full of fantastic people. But underneath the diplomacy, you can hear it. The hurt, the disappointment, the sense that they deserve better. Inside the playing group, there's got to be questions. If this can happen to Hayward and Florent, blokes who signed long-term deals, who were part of the club's plans, who's safe? Leon Cameron and Dean Cox haven't publicly responded to these comments. The club stayed quiet. Maybe that's the smart play. Maybe there's nothing to say that makes this look better. Carlton, meanwhile, has welcomed both players with open arms. Michael Voss and the Blues coaching staff are probably looking at this thinking, we just got two quality players who are motivated to prove Sydney wrong. And you know what? That's exactly what's going to happen. Hayward and Florent will be out to show the Swans they made a mistake. Every time Carlton plays Sydney, these two will be up for it. This reminds me of the Kurt Tippett saga years ago. Different circumstances, but same issue. How you treat players matters. For Sydney, this is a public relations disaster wrapped in a successful trade. Yes, they got Charlie Curnow. Yes, on paper, the list is better. But at what cost to the club's reputation? Players talk. Managers talk. When other players see how Hayward and Florent were treated, when they see blokes with 5-year deals being told we want you gone via phone calls while on holiday, that affects their perception of the club. The consequences. Future contract negotiations just got harder. When the Swans sit down with a player and offer a 5-year deal, that player's manager is going to remember this. They are going to want extra security, extra guarantees. What happens next? We watch Hayward and Florent at Carlton. We watch them play against Sydney, and we see if this motivates them to career-best football. And we watch whether other clubs start treating Sydney differently in trade negotiations. Because if you get a reputation for being ruthless with your own players, other clubs remember that. At the end of the day, this is what being a Swans fan is all about. The complicated feelings when your club makes a decision that's probably right for the list but feels wrong for the people. Hayward and Florent gave us nearly 200 games each. They bled red and white. They deserve better than a phone call in Argentina telling them they weren't wanted. But that's the business of football. Cold, strategic, and sometimes brutal. Let me know in the comments. Was Sydney right to prioritize the Curnow deal? Or should they have handled this differently? Hit like if you think the boys deserve better. And I'll see you in the next one. Up the Bloods.